Hi there, Karen here. And today I'm doing this lovely little picture of my little granddaughter that was taken in the hospital. Got quite a few of these, and I should probably be scrapbooking a few more of them. And I'm going to use this beautiful collection by Cocoa Vanilla, the More Than Words collection. And I've decided to use some pink marbled paper as my background. This one's called Darling Buds. I do actually have two of these because I thought it was so lovely. And I've covered it in some clear gesso so that I can do some mixed media on it. I'm not particularly a big one for mixed media, but I'm going to give it a go because I've been inspired by lots of people on YouTube, particularly Tiffany Solaro, who does a lot of this kind of thing, and I found her really inspiring. So I'm going to try and do something similar. And just at the top there, I've put a strip of the paper. This is from the Noteworthy paper. And you can see it's just got those cute words at the top, which seem to really be quite fitting for the layout, because it's beautiful, perfect, adorable, and lovely. And so I'm just tearing off the top of the pink paper so that little bit of those little words just peek through at the top. And then I'm just going to stick the paper to some white cardstock, because I'm going to do quite a bit of mixed media, I thought it needed to go onto another piece of cardstock to give it some extra strength. And so what I've learned from Tiffany in particular is that she starts by covering the whole paper with clear gesso, and then she uses white gesso, which is what I'm doing here, to cover up some of the colour on the backing paper. I've never been very brave about putting gesso on patterned paper. It always scares me. I hadn't done it very often. If I do mixed media, it's usually on white. So I'm being quite brave here for me. But in the end, I really love how it turns out. I've really had lots of fun with it. So I'm starting off by just covering an area that will just be slightly bigger than the photo. I'm starting with a Vibes Mist by Shimmers, and this one is called Sweetheart. So it's a light pink. It was actually quite a bright pink when I sprayed it on, but I'm just dabbing it off a bit with some kitchen towel just to just bring it down a little bit, so it's not quite so in your face. So I'm starting off with that, and then once it's dabbed down a bit, it actually is very similar colour to the background. And then the next colour I'm going to use, I believe, I'm just going to use a bit of packaging, because I thought I didn't really want to spray directly on with the Heidi Swap colour shine. So I'm starting with the pink. And I had a bit of trouble with the spray nozzle. It wouldn't spray onto the packaging, so I had to take the top off and just dab it on. But it has the same effect. And then I'm just dabbing it a bit around the area that's covered with the gesso. I'm being fairly careful with it because as I've said before, I'm not very brave with it, and I'm just dabbing it around the area, and then using a bit of kitchen towel just to blot it a bit, and just doing a little bit more. I'm not sure if I think I'm now using the peach, because I want to get both colours, the pink and the peach, because I think this layout needs a bit of both. It's sort of quite a warm colour in the background, so I'm using the pink and the peach from Heidi Swap. And I'm just going to back my photo. I'm trying to decide what to use, and I'm going to use that paper with the circles on it, which is called Effervescent. That's the Effervescent. It's all from the Cocoa Vanilla More Than Words collection. So I'm just going to use a piece of that just to back the photo. Trying to decide whether to use some of this. I think it's the other side of the pink paper, my second piece of the Darling Buds paper. And I'm going to use a bit of that. That's why I bought two, because I thought the flowers on the other side are so pretty. But before that, I noticed the back of the piece I've just cut off, the grey chevron. I thought that was rather nice as well. So I'm going to try and use that. I'm just going to use that on one side of the photo, just tearing it off a bit to give it a slightly more interesting edge. And I'm going to stick my photo to that. She's got a little outfit that's got grey on it, a little white and grey outfit, so I thought the grey went rather well. And then I'm going to put the piece of floral paper behind as the next layer. Sticking that on. we are, and I'm just going to tear off on the side this time, just to make it look a little bit more interesting, not so cut, so such sharp edges. And then I'm going to put a doily, because it has to have a doily. Just put a doily on the corner. There we are. She's so cute, laying there all asleep. So that's how the page is beginning to come together. And now I'm going to do a little bit more mixed media. I did get quite carried away with my mixed media on this layout, unusually for me. I've got a stencil there which has just got crosses all over it, and I'm going to use some white acrylic paint and a dabber, which I haven't done before, but I've seen a number of other YouTubers doing it this way. I sometimes find when I've used the texture paste, it fades after. It doesn't keep the whiteness. It sometimes sort of almost blends into the background after it dries, and I wanted to keep the white look. So I've noticed that if you use a white acrylic paint, it actually still shows up after it's dried, and I really like that. And also you don't get quite so much dimension. But talking of dimension, I'm now going to use this. This is the glass beads, and its glass beads are embedded into this glue that looks white when you paste it on through your stencil, but when it dries clear, and all you end up with is this sparkly place where the beads just end up as sparkly in the shapes that you've made through the stencil. So I'll have little sparkly hearts on this, and they'll be almost invisible, but they just catch the light and they just give that little bit of dimension. And I'm using this little heart stencil. I think it might be a Heidi Swap stencil. I'm not absolutely sure. Now I'm going to use, these are chipboard letters that were on a big sheet, and I've had them for absolutely years, and I almost forgot I had them. So I popped out all the letters I need for Alyssa Jane, and I'm using my Pro markers. This is a pale blue, to colour each of the chipboard letters. And I'm just kind of colouring across the top and around the sides, and I will give them 2 coats. And so I'm just colouring each of the chipboard letters individually. You can see there I've tried a few other colours just to see what would look good on the page, but I think the picking out, it's really just more of an aqua-y colour, and I think that goes really well in the end with the rest of the layout. And I will be using other bits of that colour just to bring it all together. So they're all coloured, and they've all had 2 coats, and now I'm putting on some Versamark, and I'm going to emboss them with that's clear embossing powder, and just make them all shiny. Excuse me. So I just put the embossing powder on, and now I'm just using my heat tool to do the magic. As we all know, it's not embossing isn't something I do very often, but when I do, I always think, why don't I do it more? Because it's a magical thing, watching the change that comes about. And you can see it's kind of just given the letter a little bit more depth with the embossing on the top, and it just makes them look much prettier. So I've done all the letters now. They're all embossed and all ready to go. And now these letters, they were cut with a die. I had a whole load of them in some little bags that I prepared for when I did the scrapbooking day or scrapbooking evening for the WI, and I did loads and loads of die cutting of letters. So I'm working through those when I need some white letters for a title. So I'm going to do the title "Welcome to the World," and I already picked out "Welcome" and "World," but I didn't think there'd be room on the page for 2 in those. They're quite large, those letters, so I'm cutting them out. I've got these little X-cut small dies so much smaller letters. So I'm just going to cut 2 out with my little dies and my sidekick, my Sizzix sidekick, and I'm just going to pop those through to create the smaller words. There we go. So it's just gone through, and I've got to have to do a couple more in a moment because I haven't quite. One of them I cut the wrong way round, so I'll have to do it again. That's the H. I think it's came out the wrong way. But it doesn't matter because I had to put the T through again anyway. So there we are, we've got 2 there. So now I'm going to try and get it all onto the page and figure out where it's all going to fit. But I decided that it was looking a little bit too square and it needed softening around the edges. So I've just taken my edger tool. It just roughens up the edges. So I'm just going around the outside of the whole layout just to soften up the edge. And now I'm going to do a little bit more on the background before I put the photo, cover it up. I've got these stamps from the More Than Words collection. They're little heart clusters. And I'm just popping them on. And now I've laid on the picture so I can see where I might need some extra stamps. I'm just going to put a couple of stamps either side or around the outside a little bit. Just very subtle, nothing too much. It's all trying to be quite subtle because it has got to be a soft layout, not too in your face. I want it just to all be soft and gentle. And then the same stamp set also had some butterflies. I don't think they stamped terribly well. You've got more outline. The middle hasn't really stamped all that well, but it doesn't really matter because they're just going to poke out from either side of the photograph cluster. No, it's not cluster. Anyway, whatever it is. And I'm going to put it up on a piece of foam. I'm just trying it out, see how it looks. I'll just stick the foam on in a minute. And I'm going to try and fit on all these letters. And it's a bit of a challenge because, as you'll see in a moment, those hearts, excuse me, with made out of the glass beads have now dried and are actually making it quite difficult to fit the title on because they're quite bold and they do stick up a bit and they're not very easy to stick things on. So although it looks quite nice curved round like that, I'm not going to be able to keep my welcome to the world in that position because the W just won't stick there because there's a big heart right in the wrong place. So I had to find another way of sticking them on, or another place, so that I could fit it around the hearts. I hadn't really planned ahead very well when I did the heart stencil. So I'm just got to find a way that it'll all fit on and look okay and have the heart sort of running through the middle of it. So I think I've finally got there. I think that is now stuck down, and so is the letters at the bottom. Melissa Jane, she's all stuck down as well. And I found this little bit of lace. I've got a box that I haven't looked at for years. I've loads of lace. I used to use lace a lot on my layouts, and I haven't used it for a long time. But it's a baby layout, so lace somehow seems really the right thing to do. So I just want to put a little bit of soft pink lace underneath the photo, and I think that looks really sweet. And again, I'm finding a lot of things and using a lot of things I haven't used for a long time. It just seems the right thing to do on this baby layout. I haven't really ever done baby layouts before. I really like that. I really like that little bit of lace at the bottom there. It looks really sweet. Excuse me, got a bit of a tickle today. So now I'm finding some flowers. I've had these actually in my stash for a little while. I bought a load of flowers and then I've hardly used any of them. But I've been watching these layouts, these process videos by Tiffany Soloro, and she really uses flowers so beautifully. On nearly all her layouts they have flowers, and I love flowers, and I just think I really must use them some more. So I've decided to do some flower clustering with these little, they're like cherry blossoms, I think they are. They just come on a wire stem, and I just clip them off. And I've just pulled a few more, and I found a few more flowers in my stash that I'm going to use just to make it not too one-dimensional on the flower front. I want some different sizes and a bit of different colour. So I'm actually using a little ink pad there to do a little bit of aqua coloured ink around the sides of some of the flowers, around the edges. It's not very clear to see, but there is a little bit of blue on some of the flowers around the edge. And then that's that little blue flower that's made out of a bit of netting. They're already made and they're really pretty, really soft with the pearl in the middle. And I love those. And I've had them for ages. I've been hoarding them a bit. I have had them a long time. I've used some of them. And I think I really must try and use them. Eventually I'll use them up. I've got a few more left, but they're different shades of this aqua colour. And I thought that one would go, and I will put another one on. Otherwise it looks a bit odd just on its own. And I'm just tucking them all in around. There's that one big flower in the middle, and then I'm just tucking all the small ones around. And I've got, so they're white. Mostly they're white, creamy white. And some of them have just got a little bit of, there, I'll just see it there. I'm just put a bit of ink pad around the edge. And it's a pale, it's an aqua colour. It's not overly pale. It's more obvious to see in real life, but it's not terribly terribly obvious that I've got the colour there on the video. I take my word for it, there is a little bit of blue in there. So I'm just filling in the gaps all around and trying to incorporate that one blue flower as well, make it part of the set. And I think once I've got the blue edges on some of them, it does all work together quite well. I love working with flowers. I think they're so pretty, and I am going to be using them a lot more, I think, in the next few layers, particularly ones of the baby. So I was almost like I've rediscovered how much I love them. And you see there's some little tiny little flowers there that I bought a while ago and I haven't used them, but I'm going to tuck them in. So these are again in that aqua colour, and I'm going to just tuck them in here and there just to bring that colour more into the cluster of flowers. I'm sure I could have gone a bit further with the flowers, but I wanted to keep this layout very soft, not over the top. I want the photograph to be the main focus, and everything else is just meant to enhance that. It's such a cute photo, and we have quite a few of these similar photos that were taken in the hospital, so I will be doing more of these. So we are. So I'm going to do a few on the top corner, not quite as many flowers, but just like a little complementary cluster in the opposite corner, starting with another one of those blue soft flowers made of very fine net that's been with a pearl in the middle. I think it's really pretty. And then a few more of the white flowers edged with the blue around it. There we are. I'm just going to cluster them just around that corner, and a few more of the little tiny ones as well to bring all that colour in. So I must say I really love how this layout has turned out. It's one I haven't always liked the ones I've done lately. I haven't, well, not liked them, but they haven't been my favourites. But this is certainly one of my favourites, and especially given it's a mixed media one, which usually when I've done mixed media, I'm not always that happy with it. I have really enjoyed doing this, and I'm definitely going to do some more. Of course, I feel a bit more confident with it, and I think seeing some of the way that some of the other YouTubers use their mixed media, it's given me a bit more of an idea of how to go about it, and I think I'm going to give it a bit more of a go in the future. Rediscovering things that I've loved in the past and haven't used for ages. And the last little thing I'm going to do, I've got some Nuvo drops here, and they're very in the colour. Trying to see, I've got the bottle in front of me. The colour I'm using to do a few little drops is bubblegum blush, and the colour just picks out very much the similar colour to the background. Some of them went a bit blobby, but I managed to get just a few dots here and there. They're not very visible, but it's just another little dimension. And that's it done, more or less. So thank you very much for joining me. I do hope you join me again soon. I will be going on holiday in a few days, so I probably won't be uploading another layout for a few weeks, possibly in 2 or 3 weeks before I can upload another one. So I'll leave you with this one and hope you enjoy it. Bye for now.